Hey everyone, what is up? How's it going? I'm Eggs over here, and this is my review for The Flash, Season 5, Episode 13, or Episode 14, sorry, titled Cause and Excess. And boy, is this going to be something. This is probably going to sound like more of a rant than a review, but there's going to be huge spoilers for the episode from this point on. So out of every TV show in existence, The Flash is the one I would thought would do a Groundhog Day episode back in Season 1, but it took 4.5 seasons to get to this point. Legends of Tomorrow did one last season, and 5 out of every 10 shows do one during their lifetime probably. They're one of my favourite TV tropes, and most of the time I actually find the Groundhog Day episodes to end up being one of the better episodes of whatever show's current season. Now, with what the current quality of the season has been, one would think it'd be pretty easy for an episode like this to immediately spring to the top of the season, because to be honest, there hasn't been any standout episodes from the season. I don't count the crossovers among usual episodes. The premiere started things off strong, but with the payoff being as bad as it was, it leaves a bad taste in the mouth. The death of Vibe also had some really interesting plot beats and ended up being a strong episode, but again, with the follow-ups being terrible, the whole episode doesn't really hold up. Then the 100 was a disappointment, and while we've had a bunch of good or at least enjoyable episodes, none I would jump at the chance to rewatch. So yeah, Cause and Excess should have been a shoo-in for best episode of the season had it been handled well. Unfortunately, this episode was the complete opposite of handled well, and I personally think this episode had one of the worst writing of the entire show, and I really think it could be a contender for worst the show has ever put out. It started off promising. The thought of Nora having to protect Central City for an hour while Barry's not around is a decent concept. Then with the added fun of Cisco Ralph shenanigans and Cisco having to have the perfect date, yeah, if this isn't the best episode, it still has a strong chance to be enjoyable. And sure, this episode was enjoyable, for about 7 minutes. Ciscos Date was hard enough to watch the first time. It was enjoyable, but hard to watch. And on every following sequence, I liked it less and less. On top of this, there was nothing exactly different about each redo with Cisco. Oh look, Cisco showed up in a different wacky outfit and the girl doesn't like it because he's not being himself. Haha, so fun. Let's see what happens the exact same way 5 other times. Until Cisco finally embraces himself and gets the girl. Like, come on writers, I know you don't exactly like to do subtle, but this literally could not have been more in your face. Now, even though I had problems with the Cisco stuff, it was still honestly the most enjoyable part of the episode. And that's a testament to how badly the Nora stuff was. So first off, let's just mention how Excess Nora is incapable of protecting Central City for 60 minutes before the entirety of Team Flash was killed. She's been training with Barry for 14 episodes now, on top of getting training from the freaking Reverse Flash, and she's incapable of keeping Central City safe for a literal hour. I don't know how anyone can think this is good storytelling. It's not even character development for Nora anymore. It's taking away what little credibility the character already has. But that's not even the worst part. This episode is muddled even further by the fact that the whole concept revolves around Nora acting stupidly. If Nora had just told the team what was happening after the very first reset, then things would have been fine. In Groundhog Day's episodes, generally after the first loop, the character is disoriented and has no idea what's happening. They think they're going crazy, so they act normal and let the loop play out. On the second loop, they start telling people and using the information from each prior loop to inform how they handle breaking the loop. This doesn't happen here. Nora goes through 53 loops over the course of the episode, and never once mentions to Team Flash what is happening. Due to Cisco vibing and Sherlock detectiving, the Team Flash actually find it themselves, and once they find out, that is the loop they break the sequence on. And on top of all of this, Nora doesn't actually use any of her knowledge from the prior loops to try and break it this time. She will convince somebody to stay at Star Labs, someone gets kidnapped, Nora runs to them, Cicada kills somebody. Rinse and repeat. And it's implied that this happens in every single one of the 53 loops. So Nora never decides to try something different, like, I don't know, see what happens when she doesn't run to them. Maybe she tries running Cicada to the pipeline. Maybe she drops Medi-Gloves on him, or any number of other times Team Flash has beaten a villain in the past. It gets so frustrating when the entire plot of the episode revolves around characters acting stupidly. Plus, this isn't even mentioning how every member of Team Flash is able to be kidnapped or killed so easily despite them being in this business for years. Now, I promise this review isn't just all about me hating the episode, but can I just bring up some things about how and why this story is so flawed, or at least should have bigger consequences? So Nora time travels 53 times in this episode. Now yes, her power is that she reverses time, so this is all technically one timeline rather than 53 split timelines. So it's not as bad as, say, Flashpoint, which is a completely separate timeline. But this is still very much time travel. So remember back in season 3 of the show, when after Barry created Flashpoint, we had an entire season dedicated to Barry dealing with the consequences of time travel. On top of this, we had the Dominators and alien race actually invade the planet, because constant time travel was fucking with the space-time continuum. They want to execute all metahumans to stop time travel from happening, because Earth was basically the center of the entirety of the time travel nexus. And then we have the constantness of Black Flash and Time Wraiths as looming threats, always saying you can't time travel much because these guys will show up and kill you. Now, I'm not saying to get rid of time travel. It's a huge part of Flash mythos, it needs to stay. But relegate it to a couple times a season, so at least to be like, since the travel is sporadic enough and no major changes are happening, the Dominators, Black Flash and Time Wraiths are not getting too pissed. But we just did it 53 times in one episode. This is something that should have everyone who mars time travel wanting to destroy Earth. This should have a Dominator invasion 5 times the scale of what we saw in Invasion. The reason this episode is so fucking frustrating is because it literally just takes prior canon and lore set up in the show and says, nah, why follow our own rules or remember plot points from before? Let's just do whatever we want. Now the episode wasn't all bad. I liked Barry kind of turning into the time travel mentor using Jay's cup metaphor to explain to Nora why time travel is bad. It was a nice scene and really is a testament to how much Barry has come since season 3. Also, despite how annoying the plot surrounding it was, I thought the way they actually knocked down Cicada by having the entire team use all of their powers, while Nora reverses time around them, was a really unique and interesting way to stop him. This should have been the moment where they actually defeat Cicada for good and catch him. Instead, like the other 10 times this season, the team stands in awe as Cicada dons a Team Rocket hat and blasts off again. And it just leaves me wondering, why? Why do I have to endure this? Anyway, this was the first episode of The Flash that genuinely had me questioning my interest in continuing to watch the show at all. Once the credits started to roll, I couldn't have been more disinterested in watching another episode. I actually found myself happy that the show is on break for a few weeks. I'm continuing though. I've watched every Arrowverse show since they began, and I've never been behind on one of these shows, even as far back as Arrow Season 1. I'll be watching them each till they end, no matter what. I'm too invested in this universe now. But yeah, I get why a lot of people might have enjoyed this episode, and a lot probably don't agree with how much I disliked it, and that's fair. Entertainment like this is subjective. But a lot of the things this episode did are just too unforgivable in my opinion, and I think we currently are at the lowest The Flash has ever been, even lower than anything Season 4 put out. And I think this episode deserves a 2.5 out of 10. But thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you, and have a great day.